Hello, Trailblazers. Welcome to the Trailblazers Palette Podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to Carmel Jenkins, an incredible artist whose work captures the raw beauty of the female form with a deeply emotive and instinctual approach. Carmel's artistic journey is one of resilience, beginning in high school during a challenging chapter of her life and evolving through art school, motherhood, and adapting to the changing landscape of the art world. In this episode, Carmel opens up about her creative process, her relationship with social media, and the emotional connection she has to her work. She also shares valuable advice for emerging artists and reflects on the challenges and joys of pursuing a life in art. Thank you so much for joining me, Carmel. I'm looking forward to chatting to you. So to start out with, I wanted to ask you sort of how your journey into art and becoming an artist began.
Okay, that's a long journey. It basically started when I was at school, at high school, college, in the early 90s. We're going back a long way. So basically, our school had a really good art department, and I loved doing art, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a life path for me. And what essentially happened was my art teacher, she just really took a liking to me, and during that phase, during year 10 and 11, my mum got quite sick, and she had cancer. She had cancer from when I was a young girl, but it came and it went away, and then it came back a few years later and it went away. So I was mum was in and out of hospital since I was like about 7. So by the time I was in high school, and basically what happened was she got really sick in year 11, and by February she passed away. Look, it's really hard to say, but at the time it just impacted me in such a way that the only thing that I felt some sort of control and release was my art. And what happened was I started to, well, for example, the first painting I ever did was of my mom, and I started painting images of her, and everything I did in art class was based around her. And what developed from then was I continued on with my art in such a way because the school just really took a shining to me, and I started doing these little, I think they were like exhibitions in buildings. So basically, I moved from school, and then I started to do these little exhibitions in buildings because I had my art teacher helped me through all of this and supported me. And then I was offered an exhibition. And so basically, this was just when I finished school. And so I just sort of started exhibiting right away. And I also got into art university, which was really hard to get into. And I had a different journey through there, which is another story because it was one of those art schools where they didn't support anyone that sort of did traditional work. They wanted you to do work that was quite like installation art or out of the norm. They wanted you to create something that wasn't traditional. So I found that I sort of lost my way through art uni. There were classes in there which actually developed my art, which was the life drawing classes where I essentially moved from painting my mom to drawing women, and then it evolved through that. So basically I started from painting images of my mom, and then through art university I started drawing images of women from life drawing classes, and then it just evolved from there. But there's been lots of ebbs and flows in my personal story, like how I've evolved as a human, because I developed an eating disorder after my mum had passed away. So, and that I don't really talk about it on Instagram or anything much because I think there's a lot of community guidelines surrounding that. It's sort of, when I was doing my life drawing classes, my figures, they took on a very sort of distorted and almost the bones and the curves, and yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was therapeutic for me. but I just didn't know it at the time. So art was the only sort of sense of control that I had. And it was the only thing that I felt good at and was providing some sort of benefit in my life that just was stable. After art university, I had a I had another exhibition in Brisbane, and but I was quite sick, so I wanted to move. So I left Brisbane and I took the big leap because I just wanted to be independent because I was living at home with my dad in Brisbane, and I moved to Melbourne and I lived with my brother for a bit, but I sort of lost my way again because I didn't know anyone in Melbourne, and back then there was no social media. So the only way you could get your art scene was to have exhibitions. So I essentially had to start again. And what I found was I ran into it's a funny story. I ran into an ex boyfriend, and he actually became an artist in Melbourne and quite a good one. And he said to me, "What are you doing in Melbourne?" I said, "Oh, I'm just, I want to start a new life." And I think at the time I was working in retail on Chapel Street. And he said, "Look, I'm an artist now." And he goes, I'm represented by a really good gallery. Why don't you go meet the owner of this gallery and see if he likes your work? Maybe he likes your work and he'll give you a show." And I said, "Sure, okay." And back then we had folio cases. I don't know if artists still do that now, but that was the only way. It wasn't anything through the computer. So I just turned up at the gallery, had a little interview. He was flicking through my black folio case of all my old photographs. And he was like, "Yep, yep, yep." And I'm thinking, oh no, he doesn't like my work. And it was a really beautiful gallery. And it was in Burke Street in Melbourne. He said, "Yeah, yeah, I'll take you on." He goes, "I'll give you a show next year." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, wow. So it was like I had an opportunity, and this was 2005. So I had my first show in Melbourne in 2006. It's a long time ago. Yeah, so I prepared for that. He was such a lovely guy. He got all my work shipped from Brisbane down to Melbourne, but he didn't really choose any of those works to exhibit in the show. He just wanted me to do, he said, "Keep your drawings very simple and minimal, just lines." He goes, "I just love your lines, and just do black and white paintings, nothing else." So it was strictly a black and white show of just all women, all female form, quite abstract. And yeah, a mixture of drawings and paintings. So that was 2006. And then it did actually really well. And then in 2007, I had a follow up show, and this time it was more colorful. I got more into oil sticks. My discovery of oil sticks back then, I just never knew they existed because I actually hate using a paintbrush. I'm very hands on. I much prefer to draw than to paint. So oil sticks was like a revelation for me. And that show did really, really well. But having said that, the economy in Melbourne was really good at that time. I was wrapped and I thought, okay. And then I was booked for another show in 2009. I had another show. And basically, it was very quiet, as in, I hardly sold any paintings. And I actually thought it was the best work I'd ever created because I'd moved on to sort of more neutral, abstract forms like bones and muscles and curves put together in just very warm hues that look good on the wall. I hardly sold any paintings at the exhibit, and I felt really crushed after that exhibit, only because the gallery after that closed down, and also I had nowhere to put my work. I had all this excess work, and I turned my back on painting, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was just not worth the effort for me. And the economy went really bad in 2009 in Melbourne. So I just, I gave up on art for a bit. I was still drawing, but without sort of the likes of social media. I think Facebook was there, but there was no Instagram. And, and so basically I had an unsuccessful show. There was no more gallery, so I wasn't represented. And I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I always waited tables at Crown, and I just thought, okay, is that going to be my whole entire life? I still want to do art. What am I going to do? Do I need to look for another gallery? And you actually have to pay to have an exhibit these days. And I didn't have to do that before. I was with that other mentality of being represented. But anyway, this one conversation I had with this girl at work when I was at Crown on our dinner break, and she sat down with me and she does makeup. And she said to me, Carmel, are you on Instagram? And I said, no. And she said, I think you should go on it. I go, no, I really don't want to. I said, I think I had a Facebook artist business page at the time, but I just, Facebook was enough for me. And I just couldn't be bothered. And she said, look, I think that your work will do really well on there. You should just get on there and give it a go. I thought about it for a few weeks and thought, oh, it's not worth the effort. And then I got on there and then I just started sort of posting my art because I also, because I had so many drawings, I've got like a drawer, it's called a architect's cabinet, and there's about, I swear, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 drawings in there. I'm not sure. And I accumulated so much work. I decided to join like an online art gallery, sort of like you can sell your work online. And I didn't have to put my prices. People could just email me. And I just thought, okay, well, I'm not represented by a gallery. I'll just do this online thing and see how I go. And I know it was a step back. In my mind back then, it was a step back from being represented. But then I thought, you know what? I need to make money and I've got so much work. Why not give it a go? And I was getting emails every week. So, but having said that, I was pricing my work really cheap because I wasn't sure how to price my work, and I just wanted to see how I would go. So I joined this online gallery, and then I started Instagram, and then it just became this marriage that worked for me for like maybe the following 3, 4, 5 years, and it was glorious. So I would wait tables, I would do my drawings all through the week, post it on an online gallery, post it on Instagram, sell it, and then repeat cycle. And that went on for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, and then it brings us up sort of to the present day. But so much has happened since then. I mean, this could go on forever because I'm quite old. Like I'm 47, so I started my art journey at 15,
Mm,
and to say it in a sentence is quite difficult. Like I
yeah.
wish I could say to you that I started my art journey at 45 and this is what's happened. I had a major career shift, but the thing is I've been doing it my whole life
Yeah.
and I've evolved from every single era. I've had
Yeah.
the exhibition era, I've had the social media era, I've had Instagram when it was just photos, I had Instagram when it's videos. I've done the NFTs. It's been absolutely wonderful, but absolutely exhausting. And I feel like I'm always having to learn something new. But to bring you up to the present day, so obviously I'm not on my online art gallery anymore. They closed down as well. So I was left alone. But the beauty about all this timing was when the online gallery closed, it was before COVID, before the pandemic, and I hadn't even had a really good website. So before the pandemic happened, I hired a web designer and I got a really good website done. And then it was 2019. I was organized, so I had my Instagram, I had my website, and I thought, you know
You
what,
were ready to go for that magical year of
I,
2020
I
for
had
artists.
no idea that COVID was going to happen. But I was 2019, I was organized, had my website, and then I thought, okay, I'm just going to sell work from me. I'm not going to do it through an online gallery. And then the pandemic happened.
Mm,
And you know what? For my art, it was actually 2020 and 2021 were the best years I ever had in selling my work. Unbelievable. Like I would
yeah.
sell all those paintings that I didn't sell at that show, like so many of them sold during that stage. I just could not believe it. Like my confidence. And I actually thought, okay, this is just at that time, I even didn't think I could go back to being a waitress with my job because it was doing so well.
Mm,
But the thing was, it was just that time, and
yeah.
people were at home. The government was giving people money, and people needed home for their Zoom meetings. So I sort of, after the pandemic was over, I got a wake up call, and then it was reality. And look, I don't want to I know a lot of people went through a really hard time through the pandemic. So this isn't me bragging or anything, because I've had so many hard years where I haven't sold a
Mm.
damn thing. There's been struggles as well, but it's just, this was my experience and this is what happened to me through that time. And I went through the struggles again after, like, when the world went back to normal. So
Mm.
yeah, I went back to my job, and life goes on. So, the issues seem to be these days is, sometimes you feel like your work isn't getting seen, like, with Instagram, having to do video content all the time. There's a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of artists feel it, because essentially we just want to do the work, but
Mm.
it's just, you need to also be able to do those, you need to wear all those other caps to get your work to actually be seen. And then there's so much competition out there to get your work seen. It's like, you can work on and do the best video content of your life and it can just flop, or you can do something absolutely ridiculous that has nothing to do with your art and it goes viral. It's just absolutely crazy.
It
So
is, yeah, yeah.
it's just, yeah, you just have to learn not to expect what you think, because anything can happen.
Well, it sounds like you've had an incredible journey, Carmel, and thank you for sharing all that, because I think that's, me as an artist, I love hearing that from other artists, that there is the ups and downs, I guess the actual reality of it, because sometimes what we see on social media or here is just the pretty picture or the romance of being an artist, when it's pretty tough. It's, not an easy career to choose. I think that there would have been so many other things I could have picked and done a lot better money-wise than that. But art, if your soul is called to that, then it just is. It's something you can't really get away from. So it's nice to hear your journey, and it sounds like it's been incredible with your ups and downs.
Something that you said, really resonated with me. It's just something that your soul wants to do no matter what, through the struggles, through the good times. I mean, when you have what you think is success, it feels amazing,
Mm.
but it there are also, you have to be prepared for the failures and the struggles as well. But the thing is, and I have found that the failures and the struggles, that actually, they help my art in a way, because essentially when I'm drawing the female form, there's always a sense of pain and a struggle in them. So I put that in my work, and it's a release. So in a way, art helps me through my tough times as well. It's an aid. And that's why I can't be without it. That's why I'm content with waiting tables at my age until the rest of my life, as long as I get to do my art during the week. It's medicine for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really beautiful. It is. It's sort of like a balm for your soul sometimes, and I find that too. It's just like I'm really happy when I'm creating. It's just
Yeah.
something I feel like I have to do, and when I don't do it, I'm not the
You
best
feel
version of
guilty.
me. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. Which is funny. Yeah, because guilt is something that comes up so often for me in my art. I actually haven't had anyone else say that, which is interesting.
Oh, I've had many years where I've sort of stopped doing it for a bit and just feel absolutely crap about myself. You feel like because it needs to be nurtured, and
Yeah.
and practice is also important. But what I can take a break, but if I take too long of a break, like I took 14 years break from painting. So getting back to it, I forgot all my tricks,
Yeah.
and everything was different. Like, for example, things were discontinued that I loved.
Mm.
Paints were discontinued. The colors weren't working like I used to. The lady that makes my canvases couldn't make them anymore. She's moved location, so I had to buy canvas from somewhere else. And when I started applying, my charcoal and paint, it felt different. Like,
Mm.
just nothing felt the same for me, having such a big gap. But if having said that, with drawing, I never feel different, because I consciously make myself draw nearly almost every day. But painting, it took 14 years to do my latest painting, and it's done. And I've got a new canvas and I've primed it, but I haven't worked on it yet. So I'm procrastinating with the second one as well, because I actually want to do it in a different style.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I, I don't know. It's something I need to keep doing. And when I have too much of a long break, I feel guilty, and then I don't know, I just, that manifests into something else, and then I make excuses. And anyway,
Yeah. Absolutely. I do that as well. And I think it's that stopping and starting. It's the starting again that feels like such a big hurdle. And I know for me, there's this big mental hurdle to get over when I
Yeah.
stop. So, and
Yes.
that's, and I don't want to have that mental hurdle. So it's easier to kind of have consistency and to continue on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, how many different styles do you have with your work? Do you have like a few different styles, or you just have one style?
Um, I have different mediums, but I'd say I have the same style.
See, that's a good thing. I feel like I've got my emotive drawings, like
Yeah.
A1 drawings, and then I've got my small sketches, and then
Mm.
I've got my neutral paintings, and then I've got my black and white paintings, and then I've got my color works. And so I'm just sort of like, I don't know which to tackle next. So it's like, I'm doing a bit here, and then I'm doing a bit there, and then I'm tapping into this there, and then I'm tapping into that, and then I'm thinking, no, I want to do something prolific and do something completely different. But then it's not going to be consistent. Oh, my collection's got to be consistent. Like, I've got all these voices in my head. And then,
Yep.
so yeah, that's why I'm like, time is so
Mm.
important, and I also need to focus. After having my daughter, I've never been able to get on top of the time issue. So
Mm.
never been able to.
Absolutely. And do you mind if I ask you about like motherhood and how that's impacted your art then?
Yeah, no, no worries. Well, basically, it's interesting because I had my daughter when I was 39. So, yeah, just when I turned 40. So, prior to that, I didn't think that I could fall pregnant because I had a few issues here and there. And I was a little bit worried. So, I was drawing a lot of pregnant nudes leading up to me falling pregnant. And then thankfully, I did fall pregnant and couldn't believe it. And that was actually such a wonderful time because I wasn't working and all I did was stay home and draw. And I absolutely loved being pregnant. I had no issues. I didn't have any morning sickness. And I still went to gym every day, even the day before I gave birth, just trained
Yeah.
very lightly. But anyway, yeah, no, I did a lot of drawing, and I was drawing a lot of pregnant nudes. And then obviously, after I had her, everything was a little bit different in terms of my art because I was highly distracted being a new mom. And it took a long time before I could get into a mode with my work again, maybe about a year and a half, to be honest with you. I think what I was doing was, after I had her and I sort of was getting more comfortable with bringing up a baby and learning the all the situations, I had so much like content, like artwork, drawings. I just started like putting them on Instagram, and people thought it was new work, but it was just work I already had because I didn't have time to do any work, nor did I have the energy to want to do any artwork at that time. So I just started putting, all I had time for was a little bit of content on Instagram, and I just started showing it. And still some work had sold, so it sort of got me through. But it wasn't until like maybe a year and a half after having her where I developed into a mode that I started to, slowly start drawing again. But the thing was, I found, and I still find to this day, that before I had her, I used to love working till late at night, like sometimes till 3 o'clock in the morning drawing. But I can't do that now. So I have to draw in patches, and it's awful because like school finishes at 3:30 and I'm just finally getting into a drawing, and I've got to go pick her up, and I've got all this charcoal wedged under my nails, and I'm like, oh, quick, you have a shower but it still doesn't get all the
Yeah.
stuff right out. And yeah, so I'm just, yeah, and I don't wear nail polish or anything. So
Mm.
yeah, it's just sometimes I feel like I get into a mode and then I got to quickly go. And
Yeah.
and then at night, sometimes I have to wait for my husband and her to go to bed before I do anything. But my energy is low, so I find that
Mm.
now that I'm older, that late afternoon is best for me. That's why I started doing small sketches, because they're so quick, they're fast, and they make me think. It's like all about instinct and going with it, because I just need to develop that practice because I don't have that time where I can spend like 4 or 5 hours in a slot anymore. It's gone. But yeah, when I need to do a collection, I make sure someone looks after her for a day or so I can just get some work done and just I need to have a quiet house.
Yeah.
So I'm just working in patches and trying to adapt to that. It's not like how it was before, but I get things done, but it's over a long period of time. So
Mm.
but yeah, no, I absolutely love motherhood. And funnily enough, like she wants to be an artist as well. And we paint and draw together. And
Mm.
it's just the most beautiful, rewarding experience because, sometimes I'll come downstairs and instead of having cartoons on, she's drawing. So she's more into that than watching cartoons. So I'm just wrapped.
That's
And she loves it
beautiful.
when we draw together. Yeah, I love the drawings that we do together. I should get some framed, but yeah, I keep them all. I keep everything. I keep all her artwork. I know we all think our little kids are our Picassos, but she really is good. She's got an eye for detail. So
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter likes to come into the studio with me too and draw and paint. And I often find I get a lot of insight from her just when she's talking about what she's painted and why she's painted. Like she's so in touch with herself. She's never really lost that. Whereas I think I did somewhere along the way. So it's nice to hear her express that.
and isn't it beautiful how like sometimes I'm envious at how free they are because
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it just comes naturally. And child art is
Yeah.
just so beautiful. And
Mm.
because we're developed artists, we have a certain restriction. We have a certain thing that we want to do,
Yeah.
but then it's like it just comes out so freely. And that's what I love about being an artist. Like they just tap into it so easily. It's so beautiful when you're young.
It's true. We have lots of layers that we've got to work through, I think, to get to what they naturally have.
Well, we have full days of stress and then
Yeah.
paying bills and working, and then we've got to tap into it straight away. So
All the adult stuff that we don't necessarily want to do.
yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
So yeah, Carmel, I was actually going to ask you sort of what you covered already, but yeah, about like how do you like to work, like your daily process in the studio, and do you like to work in series and things like that?
Yeah, I like to do collections. So once a year, ideally, I like to release a drawing collection every year, either just a set of black and white drawings or something with a bit of mixed media. My next collection, I'm actually thinking of releasing some paintings, some vintage ones, basically, ones from my past. I've been working on it late at night, just doing all the tech stuff with my website, but just haven't got round to doing a newsletter or doing content for it. Like it's just how many hours do you have in a day? But yeah, so that's what I like to do. Once a year, release a collection, and also the works that I love the most and that sell, I now do prints of like limited edition prints. So I have I've got about 7 that I need to release, but I've just been really slack. Like they were scanned ages ago and I just haven't done anything about it. So I need to do that as well because when I started doing art, I didn't never wanted to do prints. I was
Mm.
always against it and I always thought it was commercial, da da da. But something happened with an artwork and a guy said, "Can you do a print of it?" And I was umming and ahhing and I didn't want to sell it. And then once I decided to do prints and do limited editions, like it's actually been a game changer for me. So it's because it's a price where people can afford. So it's middle of the range. Basically, with my drawings and my paintings being more expensive, they don't sell as often, but my prints have been like a stable sort of money maker for me. So, but yeah, I'm just highly selective with what I choose for prints because they have to be pieces that I absolutely love.
And when you do a limited edition of prints, how many do you usually do?
I usually do 30 of each. There's one piece that's almost sold out. So I think it was only 15. So it just made it extremely limited.
Yeah. I think that's really nice actually. Like I love that idea of that a limited edition. It just feels nicer to me. But yeah. So I was interested to hear how you do it.
Yeah. it's been a game changer for me. So
Mm.
I'm really happy. And the people that do the scans for me, they only work with artists, and they do such high quality prints. And sometimes when I get the print, I thought, oh, wow, it looks better than the original. How did you do that?
Wow.
The quality of the paper and everything. But yeah, you have to search around to find someone that can, that understands artists and do it on the
Yeah.
best quality paper. So it's
Yeah.
it's been an adventure. But I don't scan everything, like just certain pieces that I feel, that I want to share with the world. Or
Yeah.
yeah. Or sometimes I selfishly just want to keep a copy for myself,
For you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really attached to my work.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very attached to my artwork. I sometimes hate selling pieces. So I
Mm.
know that sounds ridiculous because,
Not
everybody,
really. No. Yeah.
I guess we can talk about then what happened with
Yeah.
me.
So yeah, share with your art theft.
Yeah, I know it's been absolutely probably one of the worst ordeals I've gone through in my life. I've
Mm.
just never felt so violated, I suppose. But I think earlier in this podcast, I was talking to you about how the gallery owner got my work shipped from Brisbane to Melbourne. But so basically, all my artwork from my early years, and then any of my artwork that didn't sell at all those three exhibits that I had, basically they were stored at my husband's my father-in-law's work. So he used to come over our place, and he used to not be able to step in the front door because I just had so much artwork everywhere. And he said, look, I've got space at my work. We can put it there. And, he works by himself. So I thought it would be fine, and it was fine. It was there for about 5, 6 years. So basically, whenever I sold a painting, I'd just go there and collect it. And what actually happened was maybe 4 years ago, I did sell a painting, and I went there to collect it, and I couldn't find it. I thought to myself, maybe I lost it. And I never thought anything was stolen.
Mm.
So basically, someone had paid for this painting, and I had to actually refund them. And the painting had traveled from different places before. It was at my father-in-law's. It was at Morris Jones and Chapel Street. It was at Crown Casino as well. So it was in different places. And I thought maybe I don't know, maybe someone took, I don't know. I just had no idea where this one painting went, but I let it go. I never thought that my artwork was stolen. Never, it
Mm.
never crossed my mind. And then what happened was there was a couple of other works that I sort of couldn't find, and I just thought maybe they're somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know if you see my reels, but I show a lot of work from my past.
Yeah.
And I would actually, when I'd sell a painting, I'd go there to collect my work, and
Mm.
I'd bring back a couple of paintings to do a reel because I thought, okay, no one's seen this
Yeah.
before. Let's do content with it. I saw these two black and white paintings there, and I'd already had a full car. My husband said we can't bring it back home with us because our car is full. And I said, okay, I'll get it next time. When I came back the next time to get them, they had vanished. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Like,
Mm.
how did these two paintings vanish? And then I thought, okay, I'm going to pull everything out and have a look. So I pulled everything out. I did a calculation, and I went through actually all the works that I took there because I take a lot of photos, and I remember
Mm.
the day that I shifted a lot of my work to this facility. It was basically about over 60 artworks, and it's gone down to 30.
Wow.
So over a period, and what I think has happened is, actually I probably can't say what I think has happened because I don't know who's going to listen to this. I think someone has just that knows of my father-in-law. I think they've just taken two or three at a time and then sold it at a market and then gone back for more. And I just don't know. And that's just an assumption as it is. But when I realized it was that much work, I was so broken and I did not know what to do. I went straight to the police, and I reported it, and there's not really much they could do for me, except do a police report. But yeah, and then I thought, okay, should I put this on Instagram? And I thought, you know what, maybe I should, because maybe someone, if I talk about it and offer a reward, maybe someone will come forward. Maybe it was someone has bought it for like nothing, and they're honest enough to come forward to say that they own it. I don't know. I just had to give it a shot. So I
Mm.
put them all up and nothing.
Mm. Yeah.
Absolutely no one has seen anything. And it was shared. It got so many views, and I was so happy because so many artists rallied for me,
Yeah.
and they shared it on their platform. Like I was just that has actually helped me a lot. Like it's helped me. I'll never get over it, but it's helped me deal with it.
Yeah.
So
I think as an artist that, and especially being so attached to your work, it would be devastating. Like you feel violated, no doubt. Like it's,
well, some of those works were beautiful pieces that, and
mm,
also my work seems to sell like years later.
yeah,
So they all had potential, but it's for me, it's not that. It's just one of the paintings that this person took was that very first painting I did of my mom when I was 15.
mm,
And it was like a black and white photo of her. And it was a realistic painting. And then all these ornaments that we have at home around her. But it was a really special painting for me. And it's what started my art journey. And that was actually a gift to my daughter. Like I wanted her to have that. And
yeah,
that breaks me because that was me painting my mom, with what I went through with her.
yeah,
And I can't get over that. Like I just think about it every day. But
yeah.
I know I have to let go, but it's just like, and it's also such a painting. Like, who would? It's such a
Because
personal.
it's so personal. Yeah,
The other
I'm
works are
upset for
more.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, it it's not easy. Like, look, everyone has their ups and downs in life, and this isn't the worst thing that could happen to anyone. But I just, for an artist, like it does feel like your soul was ripped out of you, and
mm,
because I would rather my car be stolen or belongings from my house. Like
yeah,
the thought that you put behind your work is just
yeah. I mean, they're a part of your journey, and you can't get them back. Like it was done in a point in time, and
yeah,
all that feeling, all of that you're going
yeah.
through at life at that time went into it. So it's not like you can just, replace it.
And
You
to be
can't.
taken in, like, I think it's just the grand scale of it
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, there was like a couple of weeks I'd wake up and think about it, I'd go to bed and think about it, but now I'm getting better. So, but I just wish something would come forward, but nothing, there's been no information. And yeah, I just I guess I just have to let go and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
hard.
keep
I hope
going.
something does come, but yeah, it would be really tough.
Well, yeah, I've moved all my work out of there now. So, and obviously my husband's father feels really bad for me, because
Mm.
he wanted to look after my work, and then he's sort of, you know, thinking what's happened as well,
Mm.
But anyway, so that's been my ordeal, my ups and downs as an artist. I just hope that they're wherever they are loved.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking social media and I guess the business creative side of art, how have you found, I guess, social Instagram and that journey as an artist?
It's been a love hate journey, and I think many would probably agree with that or experience that as well. I'm grateful to the platform, to be honest with you. Like a lot of people complain about doing content, but I see it as just showing your work in a different way. And if it leads to a sale, then so be it. So I do push myself, but I'm make sure that I take a break, because if I don't take a break from my phone or making content, or like how will I get any art done, and how do I stay present with my family? So I make sure I take off. I think I only post 4 times a week, and for the other 3 days I make sure that I'm present with my family and with my art. And because if I just keep doing, I mean, they always say you need to post every day and da da da, all the rules with showing up, but I can't. I have to have balance, otherwise I'll just go crazy. So I'll lose it. But look, I loved Instagram, to be honest, when it was a photograph platform. I think most artists did. And it really helped artists out because
Mm.
you didn't even really have to show yourself. You just had to show your work. But as Instagram evolved and moved into the video format, you either had to step up or not step up. And I think half the artists did and the other half didn't. So I stepped up to it, and it's developed my confidence. I mean, I before I couldn't talk to the camera. I think the first time I started talking to the camera, it was absolutely horrendous. My husband was like pissing himself laughing. He had to take so many takes. I would, when you talk and you just say verbal vomit, like
Yeah.
you can hear yourself talking, but anyway, you just get nervous. And
Yeah.
I think it never goes, but
Mm.
I'm a lot better at talking now, and I'm a lot more comfortable with the camera. And actually, a lot of my reels that are just talking to the camera do quite well if you're just
Mm.
sort of honest. And but yeah, but having said that, you also need to have a backbone, because I get a
Yeah.
lot of negative comments, and
Mm.
people having a go at me, or saying this and that. And I've had
Mm.
to learn to be able to adapt to that as well, and not take it personally, and to not respond negatively back, and to just, yeah, I don't know. I just, whenever I get a negative comment, I just leave it up now, and I don't fester over it. So,
Mm. Yeah, that's
but
interesting to hear because I think to me you're one of the artists who does Instagram really well. Like I love your reels and I love your humor and how you have adapted to it. It's actually quite inspiring to see how you have, I guess, wrangled it.
yeah, I'm definitely not. Um, I would see myself as sort of a rule breaker artist. Like
Yeah.
I don't do everything right, and I feel like it's okay to share that,
Mm.
because just being authentic, I suppose. Yeah, I've sort of found my home with that, and it's been accepted in its weird, wonderful way. But
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
I do cop a lot of negativity from doing that, or being told that I'm doing the wrong thing, but it's all good. I mean, it's just me being me. And I think that's all you can be. You just have to show up and be yourself. And if you try and pretend to be something else, then it's never going to work. But yeah, there are some terrible things that I've done with my art practice, and I've shared. And yeah, it's funny because people resonate with it, with their
Yes,
own
yes.
experience. So it develops a conversation. And you know what? Like, I actually really love connecting with other artists. And it's
Mm.
funny because I've had people say to me, you should only show your work to art collectors. And why are you always promoting your work to artists? And it's not that I'm always promoting my work to artists. It's just I want connection. It's always nice to get feedback. And then I like
Yeah.
looking at other artists' work. And you know what? Like, that's helped me out so much. If I didn't have that connection with other artists, then all those artists that helped me out and shared my stolen, real,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, connection is so important.
I've come to that too. I think community as an artist is really important because it can be pretty lonely.
It can be lonely, but if you want to just show your work and not show
Yeah.
yourself, I mean, that's totally
There's
fine.
so many ways to do it.
There's no right or wrong, and that's the thing.
Mm.
Like, there's no right or wrong way, but you always will get criticized for no matter what you do, and it's just a
Yeah.
matter of, yeah, just keep doing what you want to do anyway, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's, yeah, my social media journey has been up and down, and yeah, but videos came on during the pandemic, and that was when my art was doing really well, and that's why I do push a lot of video content. But I mean, everyone has stepped up to that now. I mean, it's just how it's gone. So, and I don't think it will ever go away. Yeah, I think I'm doing actually more. I've cut back a little bit on videos. I'm doing a bit more. I just love a photo. I just love a
Yeah.
still photo. I actually love to look at still photos of art, because you get that real sense of the work. So I'm never going to stop posting those as well. So
Mm.
I think it's just, yeah, having a balance. I'm not very good at stories though. It's just like another thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I joined TikTok for a bit, and then I had to stop because it was like, I'm doing too much.
Yeah. I found that too. And I do find that
Yeah,
with stories. I find I'll be really good for a little while, but it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
that consistency of showing and letting people into my life every day I've found a bit difficult.
exactly. I mean, how many social media platforms are you on? Be honest.
I'm only on Facebook and Instagram now, and I do have YouTube as well.
See, that's a lot.
Mm,
And I think YouTube is a really good one to be on. And I was told to do YouTube as well, but it's just the fact of having to get ready for another platform
is
scares the
huge.
hell out of me. For the
I only
time
put
being,
the podcast on there, Carmel. So, but yes,
okay.
I would love to do videos because I love that cinematic side of things as well. But yeah, it's just there's so much already that it's just another thing.
Sometimes I wish I was born like years later because all the, the really, really young artists that
Yes,
just,
they take it all on so well.
yeah, they just, because it's just seamless for them. But for us, it's just
Yes.
more of an effort. So that's why I had to sort of stop TikTok because I'm on Pinterest as well. And I was doing that for a bit. And that
Yeah.
actually, Pinterest is like, I would suggest if you could just do two platforms, just Instagram and Pinterest, because
Mm.
so many people, like,
Pinterest can
I
be
mean,
great for artists. Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely sold work via Pinterest because people would just
Wow.
love the art. Yeah. And I think I
Yeah.
did a reel on it. I did, but yeah, I'm, I really need to work on it more. People go there to look for how art will look in their homes and
Yeah.
ideas. So, and then if your art's on there, it sort of gives them ideas,
True. Yeah.
but it's just a matter of do you have the time to get yourself ready for another platform? So,
That's right.
yeah,
I know I do. I only recently just did a business account on Pinterest, but yeah, I haven't really done anything with it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
another good one is LinkedIn, but I
Mm.
haven't done anything. I don't think I've updated. I don't even know my password to get in anyway. But like I haven't. I joined maybe 15 years ago, and I haven't done anything since. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I listen to Gary Vee a lot, and he always says
Oh,
LinkedIn
yes.
is the best one to
Yeah,
be
because
on. And
and he's on everything, I think.
yeah, well, he was the one that inspired me to join TikTok, and I did, and I was doing that for a bit, going crazy, and then I was like, I'm not 15, I'm
No.
47. But not saying, look, there are plenty of people on TikTok
Mm.
that are my age, but yeah, you just gotta, I suppose, I don't know. I feel like you gotta just pick one or two platforms and stick with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even, yeah, so, but then, there are artists that aren't even on Instagram that do well. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
think there's so many paths that you can take. And yeah, I've heard that doing the podcast that everybody has their own journey. Kamal, I wanted to ask you about your take on like commissions
Uh,
versus your own work and how you've found that process personally.
I don't do commissions. Uh, I've, it's funny that you asked me this because someone actually messaged me yesterday saying they wanted to do like a 2.5 meter painting commission.
Wow,
And
that's huge.
um, it's in my guidelines on my website that I don't do commissions, and I've spoken about it on Instagram as well. And the reason why I don't do commissions is because I used to do commissions and I had a few really bad experiences, and I just I just can't do it anymore. I had this I had this one lady, and I did a drawing for her, and she wanted she loved it, and then she wanted me to do something for her cousin or something, and I said okay, and but she wanted it to look sort of the same, and I can draw, like I can copy, like I can draw realistically. It's just not something I like to do. But
Hmm.
the thing is, it never looks the same, and it was a bit of back and fro, and she wasn't happy with it in the end, and neither was I, and it just there was something about the tension between like sort of ruining that customer and client relationship that because it got quite emotional. I just thought, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do commissions. And prior to that, I did have a commission where someone said you can do what you want, but then when they got it, they wanted me to change it here and there as well. So I think I work best when there's not a guideline,
Hmm.
and for me to work with the guideline, it interferes with the actual end result. So I know personally that I can't do them because my work isn't at its best. So there's no point in me doing them. The customer's not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. So yeah, as soon as someone asks me for a commission, it's like my body closes up,
Mm.
even hearing the word.
Yeah.
So, but having said that, like I have friends that are artists and they thrive on them and they
Mm.
do so
Mm.
well with them. And it just suits their work. And maybe they're just more comfortable with them. But for me, my work is very emotive and hands on, and I'm like I work off instinct. And it's just when there is a guideline in the back of my head, it somehow does something to me and it just doesn't work. I feel
Yeah.
pressure. I
Yeah, I
feel
can
pressure.
really identify with all you've said because I've talked to artists too, yeah, who do both, who don't do them, who do them, who sometimes do them, who want to do them, but I personally don't do them now.
Why did you stop doing them?
The same reason. I just having that pressure and the backwards and forwards and can you add yellow here and just sometimes the unrealistic expectations. Can you take that out of the painting? And it's like, well, no, it's a watercolor. I can't take it out.
Yeah,
It really did interfere with the process, and I, even though I did create good work with commissions and it was in a way good to have an external deadline to get something done, I personally find it's too stifling to create that
yeah.
way.
It's not enjoyable. I
Yeah.
think you have to enjoy them and be really
Mm.
in a mode and comfortable and have. I think I just hadn't set myself up in a way to dictate exactly what I want and be forthright with that.
Yep.
I was too much wanting to please the client, and then I would get emotionally involved, and it took away from it being professional. So I just decided not to do it. And it's funny because I still get asked about them, and I feel horrible saying no.
Mm.
Like I don't like to say no to anyone, and essentially you're saying no to money as well.
I remember having one really early on, and of course they'd sort of said to start with, oh, creative license, you can do whatever you want. But then she sent me a picture of her pregnant. She's like, I want me with this picture, but on the beach, and I want you to put my three kids in, sitting in, like it just ended up being this huge, like convoluted, like email paragraphs long of like what she wanted. And I of course said no to it, but I was just surprised actually how much control people would want over something like that. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was rather eye-opening doing commissions.
So how do you say that you don't do them anymore? You just put it in your website or
um
say
I
no to
think I
people?
had it in my website for a while. I haven't actually I did have someone ask me through Blue Thumb, but I just say I don't do them now.
Oh, you would do some.
Yeah, I don't have anything up at the moment, and I haven't for a little while. But
What do you think of the platform?
and I like it and I don't. But I think that it's awesome if you kind of just want to put your work on there and it sells. Because I mean, I had a piece of work up there I forgot about and I didn't even remember, and it sold. And I just got the email saying it had sold. And I love that about it. I love I can just pop something up there and it'll maybe
Yeah.
eventually sell. So the commission side of it's not so nice because it's like, well, if I sold that through my website, I wouldn't have that commission and postage. But but then they do the advertising, so I can completely understand that.
Is it a monthly fee?
No, you can pay a monthly fee, which I think gets you extra features, which I don't. I'm not doing that at the moment because I'm not on the platform regularly. But yeah, I do know artists who do that, and they find it quite good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, a few people have told me to get on it, but yeah, I just haven't researched and yeah, not
yeah,
sure if my work would suit their every
yeah,
time I see sort of their work, it's like sort of floral and landscapes, and I don't I do see a bit of nude art, figurative, but just yeah, I just haven't jumped on it yet because I'm
yeah.
just sort of
That
too
may be
busy.
a reason though that it may be good for you because your work would probably stand out there, I would imagine. And I think there are a couple of artists on there that do quite well, that their work's quite different to everybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I have seen some artists do quite well on there. I just, yeah, I don't know why. I just haven't thought about doing it yet. I'm
Mm.
just still, I like the control of having my own thing,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
So,
yeah, which I totally get too.
Yes, I'm actually in an exhibition next month, which I'm really unprepared for.
Yeah, tell us about it. So yeah, where is it, and what are you going to be showing?
It's with Gallery Unbound. It's a new
Oh
gallery
yeah,
in
yeah.
Norfolk. Yeah.
I think
So
I'm following them on Insta. Yeah.
yeah, the girl that runs it is she's a super cool artist, and I was with
Hmm.
one of the. She had a it was with Red Gallery last year. I had a show with them, and then she invited me to this one. So I thought, yeah, she saw one of my old paintings from one of my reels, and she really liked it. And I thought, she goes, "Why don't you put that in the show?" And I'm like, "It's about like it's a teenager. It's so old." And she said she loved it. She says, "Just put it in." Put them in unframed because I was going to get them box framed because
Oh yeah.
the canvas is really old. My dad actually made them for me, and yeah, you can. It's so you can see the age in it, but she loved that nostalgic feeling to it. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to put them in, I think, without frames and see how I go. But the last exhibit I had with them, I didn't sell anything, and
Hmm.
I'm getting used to that now. And then I was in a show in February in Sydney, and I didn't sell anything either. I don't want to let that stop me from showing. I feel like I do better just from showing my work in the lounge room. I
Yeah.
seem to sell more than when I exhibit in a gallery,
Yeah.
but I really want to have that confidence again to be able to show my work in a gallery, even if it
Hmm.
doesn't sell. Like, who cares? I mean, it might sell in another 10 years. So you
Yeah.
just got to get yourself out there.
Hmm.
So having said that, in the February show that I didn't sell anything, there was another artist I exhibited with, and she had a friend from Instagram who started following me, and he ended up buying one of my prints.
Yeah.
So something did come from that show.
Yes.
Maybe they
Yeah.
didn't buy one of my paintings, but things do happen when you keep showing
Hmm.
up. So I think you just gotta just do everything in a way, not
Yeah.
just be a social media artist and not just be an artist that exhibits in a gallery. You've just got to sort of circulate in different ways, and that's what I'm doing. No matter a good result or bad result, I just keep going. I'm like,
Yeah.
another failure, or yeah, I had a
Yeah.
success. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I love that perspective, Carmel. And I think I've found that too. It's like when I do put myself out there, I think I had some pieces at a maker's market that was a permanent one. And
Okay.
I still get people come across me and my website and they're like, oh, I saw your work at this place, even though it was like, 5 years ago. It's quite incredible the links that people make with your work and come back to you
Yeah.
later.
There's a benefit to everything. So you've
Yeah.
just got to put yourself out there, I suppose, because
Mm.
otherwise, how are people going to see or remember your work? And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it. If they don't know about you, yeah, it's
yeah. So yeah, I'm putting some very very old paintings in there. I have some newer works, but she liked those too, so I just thought, okay, just go with it. So
I think that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm doing next month, and
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully when things die down in October, I can release a new collection, and then it's Christmas, I suppose, and then another year of making art. Every
Yeah.
year is making art. So the only thing that I've been having issues with lately is just sort of pricing. Because I'm going to do a collection with my old paintings, I'm still trying to navigate an idea of a price, because just because they're old doesn't mean they should be priced less. So I'm just
Yeah.
sort of I've always had issues with pricing, and
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's really what you want to do anyway. So I've
Mm.
just got to just go with my gut. But yeah, that's sort of been why I've been procrastinating with getting it ready. So like,
Yeah.
it's just a different sort of collection. So
Mm. Mm. I look forward to seeing it, Carmel.
thank you. If I ever get it together,
You will. You will. And so, do you have any, I guess, advice to emerging artists or people who are just starting out on their art journey now?
just draw and paint and do as much as you can and block out the noise. And I think the best thing is to find your own style. Once you've found your own style, just be prolific and go with it, and just do as much as you can. and just build up a body of work. And I think it's important to build up a body of work before you start a website or start showing yourself here or there, because you have that work to fall back on. But you just got to sort of develop that style and be in a mode. Everything will sort of fall into place after that if you just have those few steps in place first. But you've also got to have a backbone. You've also got to be prepared to wear several hats, as you know. And it's a journey of self-discovery, because you are on your own, and you just come across so many hurdles, don't you? But you get there. You just have to, and that's why having also a community of artists to help you is a good thing as well. So if you have like a good support system, that's really good. I don't know. I'm sort of that. If I had to go back in time, would I do art school again? I think I would, because even though I had a negative impact from art school, it gave me three more years of doing art. I mean, and it also introduced me to life drawing, which is a style that has never left me, because I was just doing those classes continually. So art school is always a good thing, whether it's traditional or not traditional. But yeah, I think work balance is really important, to make sure you just have breaks from social media and just concentrate on the work and silence the noise. I think a lot of people, a lot of artists these days are very sensitive to other people's opinions. But I think, if you develop a backbone, you can just sort of grow through that. I think that's it. That's more than a mouthful.
I think that's awesome, Carmel. And thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I've absolutely loved chatting. It's been wonderful getting to know you and hearing your journey and about your art.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's been really nice getting to know you as well. And thank you for the opportunity to talk all things art.
It's been fun. And where is the best place for people to find you and your work?
Definitely my website, carmeljenkin.com, and also my Instagram at Carmel Jenkin is my handle. I'm always there 4 days a week. You won't see me on the weekend.
Head over and see Carmel's beautiful work there.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Trailblazers Palette podcast. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to subscribe and share if you enjoyed the episode. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with incredible guests. Keep blazing your trail, and until next time, stay inspired. This is Sanchia, your host, signing off. See you soon, Trailblazers.